Hey guys, and welcome back to Empathic Chronicles, where we explore life, love, empathy, and overall growth. I'm Tiffany Elise, your host, and today, in honor of Hispanic Heritage Month, I'm diving into a topic that's deeply personal to me, and that is being Latina in today's world. Now, this episode is all about embracing our identity, no matter what that means for you, celebrating our culture, and ultimately breaking through the barriers that we as Latinas and others who identify as such often face. Now, whether you're Latina or not, this episode is about resilience, it's about pride, and it's about the importance of empathy across all cultures. As a Latina, my cultural identity is woven into everything I do, whether in my career as a project manager, in my role as a mother of two, or even in my day-to-day interactions as a wifey, as a human, and just as a go-getter, as at least what I like to classify myself as. But don't get it twisted. It hasn't always been easy, okay? Growing up, I faced the pressure of balancing two worlds, not only holding on to my Hispanic roots, but also while trying to fit into environments where being different wasn't always celebrated. But you know what? That experience shaped me. It taught me resilience, it taught me empathy, and it taught me the power of owning who I am. I've had moments where I felt like I needed to minimize my culture to get ahead, especially in professional spaces where Latinas are underrepresented. But what I've learned is that my culture isn't a barrier, it's my superpower. So how do we break barriers let's just talk right now in professional life? Okay, let's talk about the professional world. Okay, as a Latina woman in industries like technology, for which I'm in, and project management, I have faced challenges that sometimes made me question my place. Okay, I've talked about this often, but imposter syndrome is real. And it hits hard when you're often the either only Latina in the room or the only one that is speaking up, essentially. But I've realized that representation matters. We need more Latinas in leadership positions, more of us sharing our voices and showing the next generation what's possible. Okay. And I wish that I had a guest interview to accompany this show today. But recently I heard a Latina CEO say, we aren't just filling seats. Okay. We're building tables. And I recently went to an event at work that was celebrando our impacto for Hispanic community. And it was a similar feeling that stuck with me because it's a reminder that we have the power to create spaces where our voices and experiences are heard and valued. Okay. Cultural pride and empathy. Let's talk about that. Okay. I want to talk about how empathy ties into this conversation because after all, these are empathic chronicles, and I definitely want to hold true to what this podcast is about. Okay. Being empathetic to the experiences of others is essential, especially in a world that's becoming increasingly diverse, okay? This world is changing. No matter what anyone thinks, okay, this world is turning a different leaf. But no matter what, empathy starts with understanding and valuing our own stories first. For me, obviously, being proud of my heritage and frankly, unapologetically Latina means not only standing up for myself, but also standing up for my community. I feel stronger when I'm surrounded by other Latinas or Latinos, but ultimately, we often find ourselves in a position where we are standing up for what we believe in on our own. And I want to challenge everyone listening, regardless of your background, to consider how we can create more inclusive spaces for all cultures. Like, what does that even look like in your life? How can you be more empathetic to the stories and experiences of people who come from different walks of life? Anytime that I meet someone who's from a different country or who speaks a different language, I always like to get their perspective on what it's like to be them, what it's like to walk in shoes that others may not find regular or normal. Okay. So let's keep to what I know. And I want to share a message to fellow Latinas. To my fellow Latinas listening today, it is Hispanic Heritage Month. It is the time now more than ever to celebrate our Hispanic heritage, to celebrate being Latina, to celebrate being Latino. I want you to know this. You are powerful AF, okay? You are powerful. You are resilient. And your heritage is a gift. Whether you're navigating your career, motherhood, fatherhood, parenthood, or personal growth overall, remember that your culture and identity, those are assets. Those are only benefits to your life. Those are only additions to how amazing you already are. Okay, we are part of a community that has legit overcome so much. And yet still, we have so much more to give. Okay, I like to talk about the fact that it may be surprising to some, but I love listening to reggaeton. Reggaeton is, I love Spanish reggae. I have always listened to it since I was freaking in high school. I am fascinated with Spanish rap. I'm fascinated with artists like longtime artists like Ivy Queen and Don Omar and Daddy Yankee y Joali Randy. To now looking at the artists that we hear from today, like Karol G, Shakira has some songs that are reggaeton influenced. I love that fucking music. It is what gets me moving. It is what moves my soul. And I am so grateful that I still till this day incorporate that into my life. Same thing with like listening or watching Hispanic novelas, so soap operas in Spanish, watching movies in Spanish, La Reina del Sur. If you've watched that show about the cartel, and I mean, I'm just freaking fascinated, okay? Because at the end of the day, we owe it to ourselves to show the world how much we freaking matter, how much talent we bring to the table, okay? I think so often us Latinos y Latinas, we get kind of short shifted in thinking, oh, well, it's too much. Oh, we don't want to be too much. We don't want to be, extra. No, fuck that, okay? I am all about, recently I was at a Hispanic heritage event and I was just dancing and going. It's in your blood. It's in your soul. When you're Latino, when you're Latina, you feel it, Okay. And I never want you to forget that you are enough just as you are. Why is that so hard for people to ingest? Why? Because they feel ashamed, or they feel like they don't deserve it, or they feel like they're less than. Well, I'm here to tell you that you're not. Okay. Own your story and don't let anyone dim your light. Okay. Somos Latino. Hay que echarnos pa'lante. And I'm just so grateful. I mean, I'm a mentor as well in my professional life. And I love mentoring people who are also Latina or Latino and have aspirations to become something greater in their life, because so often we're minimized to believing that we either don't deserve it or we don't have it in us. And so often that is wrong. So often that is incorrect. It's the complete opposite. Okay. We have what it takes. Okay, we see actors like J-Lo, and we see actors or singers like Juan Luis Guerra, and, people that have overcome adversity, or just the fact that, people see a Latino or a Latina and they're like, oh my God, are we going to get some slangs, and the word, and I'm going to say it just because it's my podcast, but the disgusting word, spick. I have been called before, and I know what that's like. And regardless if I was born and raised in Miami, regardless if I was not born and raised in the island that I come from, okay, mi encantito, mi Puerto Rico, mi isla, like, I have been called that before. And just as much as black on white crime is just as bad for Hispanics being called spics. We are much more than what people think we are. Okay, we bring salsa, we bring variety, we bring talent, I've known some of the strongest and smartest Latinos y Latinas educationally and just within music and within movement. And it's like, fuck, like we don't get the fucking representation that we deserve. So then we have months like Hispanic Heritage Month, where we're able to exemplify what we can bring to the table as Latinos. Okay, we have what it takes, and I want to empower you if that's who you are and how you feel, that you can't be 120% who you are because for fright of someone not accepting you or someone not taking you at face value. No, fuck that. You are worth it. You have value. You have worth. You are amazing. And it doesn't matter where you came from. It just matters where you're going. Where are you going? Where are you going to take that gift, that talent, that thing inside of you that nobody else has, your superpower? Being Latino, being Latina, that's a fucking superpower. Okay? We bring so much flavor to this world. So I want to leave you with that. And while this message and this episode was a little brief today, the meaning is forthgiving. The meaning is so grand. Okay? So thank you for joining me in today's episode of Empathic Chronicles. Latinos, Latinas, stand up. We're fucking badass. We bring a lot to the table. If this episode of Empathic Chronicles resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'd love to hear your story. Share your own story with me on Instagram, or leave a comment or review wherever you're listening. Let's continue this conversation and uplift each other. Because at the end of the day, somos Latino y podemos hacer lo que queremos. ¿ok? Tenemos el hecho para echarnos pa'lante, ¿ok? To be fucking badass, ¿ok? So until next time, let's keep leading with empathy. Let's keep building each other up. This episode was in honor of Hispanic Heritage Month. Embracing who we are, breaking those barriers. And as I always say, and as it's written in the book that I will eventually publish one day, break the cycle and be the difference. Look at the flavor and the essential that we bring as Latinos as an advantage to humankind, to the community. Because at the end of the day, opposites do attract. And the Hispanic heritage keeps this world running fast. Just like the African American culture does, just like the American culture does, just like the Asian culture does, just like the Hungarian culture does, the French culture. I mean, wherever you're from, whatever you represent, this world needs the variety. Because with everything going on in this world, the variety is what keeps it spinning. So thank you for joining today's episode. I'm so grateful you took the time to listen to me and to just hear me out. But I want to empower you no matter where you came from, no matter what your background is. I want to empower you to be your best freaking self. You are amazing. You have what it takes, and my empathy for you grows strong. So thank you. And tune in to our next episode of Empathic Chronicles. I'm your host, Tiffany Elise, and I'm so grateful to have had you today in my presence. Thank you, and talk to you next time. Bye.